Well, thank you, everybody. It is a pleasure to be with you all today. My name is Stephen Rose. I'm a 14-year veteran here at Microsoft. I lead IT pro readiness for teams, and Kazim and I met about a year ago. He asked me to do some webinar podcasting with him, and we've been chatting over LinkedIn, and he told me about this amazing opportunity, and I wanted to join you today. It is very early in the morning here. It's about 1 a.m. in the morning, but I have my chin, so I am ready to go, because if I'm going to do something at 1 in the morning, I got to have my chin. So I've got my big thing of chin here, so I'm good to go. Great. Well, as I said, my name is Stephen Rose. If you would like to reach out to me after this event, you are more than welcome to reach out to me on Twitter. My best way to get me there is through Stephen L. Rose. I also own a show called Inside Microsoft Teams, where I sit down with executives from companies all over the world and talk about how they are using, managing, securing, deploying Teams. And you can check that out by visiting aka.ms/inside-ms-teams. What I'm going to focus in today are some of our bigger announcements and kind of some developments that we've seen with our customers as they move to hybrid work. So we'll talk about that, some of the big announcements that we made at Ignite, and some of the other key features that we have released, and some opportunities that we have put out for our customers. So I'd like to start, first of all, with a quote from our CEO. It is incredibly important, as anybody who is managing a business or working in a business, to understand that employee expectations are changing, and that we will all need to define what productivity is much more broadly, that digital technology is the most valuable resource at the world's disposal. And it allows us to reimagine everyday work and life. If we take a look at the biggest trends that we've seen in the past year, it really comes down to 5 areas that we're going to have to work very hard for employees to be good with hybrid work, to feel good about that new worth it equation, that leaders have to make it worth it for people to want to come into the office. As you can see, I'm here in my house. I work from my home about 4 days per week, roughly. I go into the office about 1 day a week, and I've not seen a lot of value except for me being able to connect with some of my coworkers by going in more than that. So as employers, that's one of those really key pieces that is going to be incredibly important. But what employees are looking for is the ability to work how they want, when they want, and where they want. And that really means allowing users to work from any device, anywhere, and most of all, to be able to do it securely. Whether you want to work from home, from a coffee shop, on the road, or in the office, or do it from a Mac, a PC, or cell phone, it should make absolutely no difference where you're working from and how you work. And that's really critical for businesses to understand. The other thing that we're running into is, how do we manage synchronous versus asynchronous time? Meaning, when we're with somebody or we're working in teams, we're doing synchronous interaction. Sometimes if we're going to chat with somebody via Teams or via another product, and they're not online, and we're going to go back and forth like we do in email, that is asynchronous interaction. So how do we understand these patterns, and how do we accommodate these different styles of working? And what that really means is we're changing people and places and processes and how that all comes together. I want to share something very interesting with you about how businesses are changing. Now, one of the things that I do as part of my role is I meet with a lot of executives and companies. And one of the things we hear from them is, we want to drive more collaboration in teams. That many people who are using Teams are using it much the same way they use Skype for business. They're using it for chat, they're using it for calling, but they're not really using it for collaboration. And I want to share something that is very, very interesting and unique. The first thing is we have, for the first time ever in the history of modern work, 4 generations of workers working in the office at the same time. We have baby boomers making up about 4% of our workforce. If you worked on a 386 or a 486 with a turbo button and a floppy drive, you get this. You fully understand baby boomers and the way that they work. And with that is applications on the desktop, data on the desktop, and that is really how they feel comfortable working. As we continue to work along that line, we have Gen X, my group, about 38% of workers, first with a laptop, but there was no Wi-Fi when laptops first came out. And again, very much a generation of people who are comfortable working on the device, on the software on the device, and having all the data on the device. Now, here's what's interesting. Let's talk about the people that you're now looking to hire or are hiring or that you want really to be the future of your company. It starts with millennials. Millennials are our first generation born in the cloud, meaning they don't need anything on a laptop except for a browser and an internet connection. They are very comfortable working via browser and using nothing else. Why? Because all of their data is in the cloud. They're used to using Office 365 or Google Docs, whatever that is, but everything they need is there. The thought of installing software or saving files to their own device is not something that is common to those folks and is a very different way of thinking. Same as we take a look at Gen Z. Gen Z doesn't see a difference between a phone and a laptop. They really see it as a way to getting to their content in the cloud. If you have teenagers or younger children, you're familiar with seeing them on their phone where they're Snapchatting and listening to music and uploading photos and doing work and typing faster than we can all type on a laptop. Now, when you take a look at that, you've got, nearly 58% of your workforce that are used to working in the cloud, and even more so, they are chat-based. When you take a look at the folks on the left, the baby boomers and Gen X, they're email-based. Now, the future, and we see this, is chat. It is allowing people to collaborate, whether it's in Teams, Slack, et cetera. It is allowing them to chat, to move back and forth. Email is not how the next generation works. What's actually very interesting is if you take a look at the pace of email versus the pace of chat, the average amount of time it takes to get a response from somebody when you email them is somewhere between 3.5 to 5 hours. But if you send them a chat, you're going to get an answer in about 4 minutes and 51 seconds or less. So if you're thinking about, how do I want to have a conversation? Here's the problem with emails. If you send somebody a question via email and they send you an answer and there's a follow-up, it could take several days to get an answer. Does anybody know how often a Gen X or Gen Z, how often they check email? They only check email twice a day. So if you're using email as your primary form of communication to work with these folks, you're going to find that it's going to take a very long time to get answers on things, and you're not going to be working the way that this newer generation coming in does. Like I said, very, very chat-focused, chat-based in how they collaborate and how they work. So if you've got folks who are running the company that are still email-based and you're hiring your future workforce and they're chat-based, it really tells you about the shifts that are going to have to happen for you to be able to work with them and to retain that talent. Because if you're not allowing them to chat, with each other and collaborate within a platform, if you're not allowing them to work the way they want to on the device they want to, where they want to, it's going to get extremely difficult to keep them engaged and keep them from not moving to another company. I'll pause there in case there's a question or something that someone might have. And you're welcome to type it into the chat, or if there's microphones there, you're more than welcome to ask it through there before I move forward. All right, I think we're good. We're going to keep moving then. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Teams. Teams is really at the center of so many customers' universe. Hundreds of millions of customers every day are using Teams to meet, to chat, to call, to collaborate, and to automate across a variety of features that we continue to add to the product. Matter of fact, since in the past 12 months, since our previous Ignite in 2021, we've released over 450 new capabilities to the product, and that will continue to grow. It is incredibly important that we bring the features that people are asking for, that we can continue to shift as our customers are asking for, and add evolutionary and revolutionary features. Sure. Like I said, it's very early here, to the product. As a matter of fact, the other key thing that we've seen is the adding of of over 1,400 third-party apps. And I've highlighted in red some of the apps that are actually not just third-party add-ons, but are actually fully embedded into Teams. Apps like Jira that allow you to take a chat and turn it directly into a ticket or into an action item. We're seeing a lot of these third-party apps that are actually building themselves into the fabric of Teams. And we're seeing so much more usage of these and engagement of these, and that's continuing to grow. So one of the things that our customers have asked for is to stay in the flow of work. We really want to be able to not have to leave Teams. We want to stay in Teams and get all of our chats, get all of our information. And if we're using products like Jira or Adobe Sign or ServiceNow or Workday, to be able to work with those inside of Teams rather than have to keep moving back and forth between different areas and different platforms. So these are apps that have gone deeper in doing that, plus some of your favorite apps that you use every day are now fully ready to be used inside of Teams. Now, we made a lot of announcements at Ignite. I'd like to cover some of those and talk about some of the new features that are going to be coming in Teams over the next 3 to 4 months. For those of you who are in our Insider, or in the next 3 to 6 months if you're using one of our standard releases. So the first thing is we're going to be bringing Teams chat to Outlook. This is going to be great for those folks who are still spending a lot of time in Outlook and see that there's a chat in Teams that rather than have to go back and forth, they're going to be able to have those chats right there inside of Outlook without having to leave the Outlook Chrome. So that's one of the first new features that we are going to be bringing to Outlook. You'll be able to see how many unanswered chats you have and be able to do it right from there. Number two, one of the things that we've heard from a lot of customers is, I'm not going to go into the office unless I know other people I want to meet with are going to be there. How do I know which of my coworkers are going to be in the office and which ones are not? Well, we're going to add a feature called work hours and location hybrid presence. And what this will do is it's going to allow you to put in what days you plan to work remotely or work from home and which days you plan to work in the office. So if other people are planning their time in the office and plan to come in, well, you'll know what days that person is going to be in the office, which days are working from home, and you can optimize by understanding their schedule on when are the best days for you to go in and meet with that person and be able to see them. And this is part of that hybrid work that although you may be working from 2 different locations, you really want to optimize for when the people that you do want to meet face-to-face are in the office and when you'll get a chance to work with them. So hybrid presence is a new feature that we'll be bringing to Outlook and Teams. A new channel reimagined experience. This is the release of Channels 2.0. So what we're doing here is we're moving the post area to the top, making it much easier for you to make channel announcements and be able to do things much easier within that flow of work as you continue to work with those customers. You can pop out those chats. You can make announcements. We even have a new feature that allows you to add a video clip if adding a video is a easier or better way for you to be able to communicate with the people on your whole team. You may want to go in and just leave them a quick video message. Hey, great job on completing that project last week, and a video message may be a great way to do it. So we're finding new, better, and deeper ways for all of you to be able to engage with your teams in a variety of ways and make it easier with Channels 2.0. We're also expanding something we have currently in Outlook and in Word, which is suggested replies and expanded reactions. And what that does is, as you're typing, it's going to say, hey, would you like to say perfect? Or would you like to say this? Or would you like to use a different type of emoji or emoticon? So we're finding and giving you additional ways that you can chat and connect with people within your own team. I talked about video clips, so I'm going to go ahead and show that. But here we can do a video clip for our audience that you can leave within that team meeting. You can cut it, you can edit it. But again, a great way when just sending a text is not going to work to a team, it may be great for you to be able to do video clips. Also, the same way that in Outlook, if you have people who are working in different time zones, one of the things you often don't want to do is, for example, it's about 1:15 in the morning right now. I would not want to send an email to somebody for fear that maybe, when they wake up at 5 or 6 a.m., it's going to be sitting there. They think I've sent this at 1:15 in the morning, and I'm waiting on a response. I can, through Outlook, say, you know what, don't send this until 8 o'clock in the morning, my time. We're going to give you that same ability as you work with people across a variety of time zones to be able to do this inside of Teams with scheduled send. What scheduled send will do, is it will allow you to be able to pick a time that makes better sense for the person that you're working with to be able to respond to that message. So we can go in, we can type in that message, perhaps add an agenda for the meeting, but we could say, hey, don't send this until 8:30 in the morning, their time or my time, so that it is not arriving at an hour that would force people to feel that they need to respond in a time that's not natural for them, and that you're not waiting to hear back from them. So again, just some things that we're doing to make it more comfortable to communicate with people. Another feature that we've brought to Teams, and if you're familiar with PowerPoint Live, we've now brought Excel Live to Teams. Excel Live enables you, much the way that PowerPoint Live in Teams allows me to do exactly what I'm doing, see all of you, share my data, allow you to click on hyperlinks and see what we're doing. As an attendee, you can actually manipulate data, you can play, see the different charts, go in, take a look without in any way, shape, or form changing the content that everybody is looking at. So it's a way for you to create a better way to present content when sharing PowerPoint or sharing Excel, and be able to do it in a way that works best for all the people who are on your call. We've also added a collaborative and annotations feature. This allows you to, for example, share a picture or a map or anything that you want to with all of the participants, and allow all of the participants to make notes, to be able to draw, write, highlight, etc. within that document in real time all together. And then this is, again, a really great feature to allow a better and easier way for people to collaborate across a variety of different platforms and to be able to do that together. And then mesh avatars for Teams. We've now released this. If you would like to have presence as a mesh avatar, we've seen a lot of great opportunities for folks to be able to do this, where they either don't feel comfortable being on camera, or in some countries, because of laws, children under a certain age, if they're in school, are not allowed to be on camera. They can show themselves as an avatar. It allows them to interact in real time with all of the other folks inside of the meeting. So those are some of the cool new features that are going to be coming to Teams in the next few months that all of you will have access to, and that are going to make chatting and collaboration and working together a little bit easier. I want to talk about another feature that we released, something new called Teams Premium. This is some new features that we are bringing to folks that will cover everything from one-to-one meetings and town halls, virtual appointments, webinars, and things like that, and we'll bring additional functionality to Teams for our customers that would like it. Now, this is an add-on. This is not included with everybody's Teams license, but some of these features for some of you may be incredibly important and may be worth investing in some licenses for some of your employees that will be leading these efforts. So let's talk about Teams Premium. The first feature is something called Intelligent Recap. I love this feature because I have a lot of meetings and often have to pick one meeting over another. It allows me after the meeting to go in to see all of the agenda items, all the action items. If people have assigned me action items, I will see those. I can see exactly where my name was mentioned, what was mentioned. I can go in and accept those various items. I am able to see the full transcript of the meeting. I'm able to see the attendance of that meeting. And I can even go to the meeting recording, and the meeting recording will be automatically broken down into a series of chapters based on when the conversation changes or when the PowerPoint slide, for example, changes. So I can even go right to that portion of the meeting, or I can type in my name or a specific word I'm searching for. It will search the transcript and take me right to that moment in the meeting. So now, if I miss a meeting, I have the ability now to get caught up very, very quickly to see what's important to me, to know what I missed, and to be able to do it without having to attend that meeting and be able to get caught up very quickly. This is great if I've been away for a few days, or as I said, if I have several meetings at the same time. One of them, and I'm also going to get that same recap also as an email as part of my daily briefing. So all of that information is intelligently gathered and given to me. So Intelligent Recap is one of those new features. We're also adding some features to advanced webinars. This will include things like custom branding, which a lot of our customers have asked for, that when they do webinars or live events, that they can have custom branding. It allows you to create templates for these meetings. As IT, you can say what that look and feel is going to be like, and even create templates that will allow you to say, this is the security settings for this sort of meeting. So who's allowed in, who isn't. We're going to be bringing features like Green Room, which allows somebody to be able to join a meeting without being seen backstage, to be able to see everything going on in the conversation before they actually join that meeting. So they'll be able to do that. So these are just some of the features that we are going to be bringing to advanced webinars. We're also going to be doing some personalized meeting guides. These are ways for you to be able to create templates for meetings that may say any new meeting that you start will need to automatically not allow folks to be able to join with camera, or may allow folks not to be able to have chat, or not to have chat, or be able to bypass the entryway. So meeting guides is a way for IT to be able to specify for the types of meetings that folks are having, what are those security requirements that are necessary. We're also bringing in another feature called Advanced Virtual Appointments. This enables organizations to do business to customer engagements like sales, customer service calls. This is great for things like virtual healthcare, banking, retail, etc., where you can see your queue of people that want to chat with you or that want to have a appointment with you. They'll get a confirmation on that time. Once that's booked, they'll be able to check in, they're waiting, and then you'll be able to join them live, whether it's from your cell phone or from a laptop or desktop. But it is a better way to create a better experience and to have the analytics to go with it so that you can track and see what that was like. Finally, one of our last features in Teams Premium is a secure meeting feature. If you, for example, need to have a locked door that you would use at meetings and want to have some very special features like I want to make sure that all meetings have if I want all my meetings that are confidential to have a watermark that is unique to that meeting, if I want to see what the encryption code is for that meeting, if I want all of the information in this meeting to be secure, this is a great feature for those folks who have needed to do that, to be able to move that forward and be able to do it. So those are some of the features that are going to be coming to the product in the next few months. Teams Premium, we will see a free public preview for that coming in December, where for 90 days you'll be able to play with all these features, and then it will turn up as a service that you can buy per seat for specific employees that you would want it for. So I'm going to again pause there to see if there's any questions. Feel free, for those of you online that want to type them in the chat, you're more than welcome to. And if any of the folks in the room have a question, just if someone could repeat it to me, that's great. And I'm happy to answer it before we move forward with some of the other features that should be currently available to you, or ones that will be coming soon that I'm a big fan of.
One of the concerns has been communication, how we communicate. So you spoke about chat being the future of communication. But I want to ask, is chat really the future of effective communication? Because for me, one of the things I've had to face is because you can just send a message to somebody, and a lot of people send messages, but they're very shallow in their communication, all right? And you check your Slack message, or you check your chat message, and you go there, you are asking to know what do you want exactly, and you're asking again, and you're going back and forth. Although the response time is faster, but you end up spending hours and not communicating properly. So is chat really the future of effective communication?
Okay. I heard it was about chat rooms. It was a little hard to hear because you're a little far from the microphone. Could somebody get a little closer to the microphone and repeat that for me? Because it was a chat question. I heard that, but I want to make sure I understand it completely before I answer.
All right. So it's like the question is more, it's not a functional question. It's more about chats being effective when you're communicating with a team member. Does it really pass the message? Like if you're working on a task, it has a faster response rate, true, but sometimes it you could stay on the same chat and things don't get done. Unlike emails where you could send the whole scope of the task and the other person gets it and gets to do it. So it's actually it's really effective for communicating in an office space.
What's interesting is the problem with email is the turnaround time very often, and then having to add people in to read all through that. It depends on how you're using chat. What's great is by doing chat, it really is how you organize your team. And here's something to think about is that every project should have its own team, and every channel is related to a group that's working on that team. So it's not just about using the chat functionality, but actually how you're chatting inside that team. And think about it this way. If you're leading a project and something happens to you or something happens to someone on your team and you bring in somebody new and you want to get them up to date, what are you going to do? Are you going to find a whole ton of emails that had all these threads and send them here and send them there? Or are you going to send them to teams where every conversation about that project, every recording from every meeting, every document that was shared, and every idea is right there inside that team? So by leveraging and really thinking of it that way, you're having all of that information in one place and making it much easier for people to find everything. The goal is that if the chats are related to the project, have those there inside the team. And that way you're getting all of that goodness of an email because it's there. You can also take an email and you can forward that to teams. And that's another great thing. If there is something you're dealing with a customer and you want to share it with the team, you can take any email and you can send it to that team and it will be posted right there inside that team chat. So if I did understand your question correctly, I'm hoping that I did, organizing your chats that way may be a better way to take a look at it, where the chat, if you're in chat inside of Teams, not inside of a chat inside of a channel, can be more for one-offs. Hey, did you want to grab lunch, or did you see this, or I'm looking for this bit of information. But the goal should be that everything that pertains to that project is in that team and all those conversations are happening there. So hopefully that answers the question, and that is how it was set up. Did I answer that correctly? Did I fully get that, or did I miss a part of it?
Yes, thank you so much, Stephen. I think we have another question.
Yeah.
So thank you for that session that you took earlier. You talked about the features that are coming up on Web Outlook, which is very fantastic, adding things to Web Outlook. So my question is, are there any consideration to add things to the Outlook clients, the one on our system? Because for somebody like me, I can't remember the last time I accessed my access my email on my browser. Okay, so
Right.
the site is the go-to area for me, and it would be good if you could have Teams integrated with it as a plugin, such that while on my email I could respond to chats. I mean, not having to switch between different screens.
You know, that is a great question. It's a question that I get quite a bit, which is, you know, are those products in some way, shape, or form going to be integrated? And my answer is, we're bringing Teams chat into Outlook, but we won't be bringing those two products together, because what we're finding is that, like I said earlier, the younger generation of workers are not using email. They feel email is how you send out a message company-wide, like, hey, we're getting a new insurance policy, or everybody has Friday off, and that's what email is good to. The problem is our younger generations, our workers that are under 30, don't use email. They don't want to use email. They want to use chat as a way to communicate, because that's how they were raised, and that is the best way to solve problems. So we're seeing the amount of emails that companies are sending starting to drop dramatically as more and more of that is becoming a chat. The other aspect of it, and this is what's important too, is, again, going back to, if somebody joins a project, sending them to that team where they can see all of the chats and all of the content in one place is much easier than saying, oh, you joined, let me find every email on that project and send it to you. You're going to start gathering information from so many sources that it's going to be almost impossible for someone to get caught up. So we're seeing email usage decline as we're seeing younger and younger workers come in. We're seeing chat conversations and channel conversations go through the roof. And we're also seeing the response times naturally on chat being much lower, like I said, 3 to 5 minutes, rather than 3 to 5 hours that we're seeing with email. So I don't think that we're going to merge those two. I think we'll still look at email as a great way to communicate something to everybody in the company, to share things, to market externally, to send updates perhaps to people externally, but we don't see it merging in, because they are two very different types of communication. And one of the things I talked about earlier was the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. People want to do more synchronous. I want to say something and I want to hear back from you. And that is really what a product like Teams with chat and channels is like, as opposed to asynchronous. I'm going to ask you something and get an answer back hours later and then send you back an answer. It's just not agile enough for a lot of the folks who are younger workers in business, and companies that are younger and startup and more agile. They just feel that email takes far too long, and that's not the predominant technology that we see. So it's not that email is going to go away, but we're seeing how people are using it changing, and we're seeing the amount of email to chat starting to change. So we will bring in features like I showed, like bringing chat into Outlook, because that makes sense if for the people who are still spending a lot of time in Outlook to be there. But you can take any email, forward it to that team, and you're going to find it much easier to search for information, archive information, and secure information when it's in one place in Teams, rather than where's that file, and now you've got 8 versions of that file floating around in email, then sending everybody to the team and everything, there's one version in one place. And that's what we're seeing from customers. So I get asked that question a lot. You're not alone on that, but we are seeing that shift that our customers are making. And I think because of that, that becomes a critical piece on how we'll see some aspect of these two products merging a bit, like chat coming into Outlook and the ability to send an Outlook email to Teams. But I don't think these two will ever be integrated, at least the way we're looking at it, become one product. So, but that is a great question, and thank you for asking it.
Hi, Steve. Thank you for having my question. I don't think it's awesome product, but I do notice that it doesn't seem to work very well with low bandwidth compared to some of the other video conferencing tools. So do you have anything in your roadmap to improve way Teams work, especially when you have low bandwidth, which is common case here in Nigeria?
It was a little hard to hear. I heard something about, did we have a feature in our roadmap to improve something that you felt was not up to spec? What was the feature that you were wondering what we're doing next with it? It was kind of hard to hear. I apologize.
Okay, working with low bandwidth.
Working with low bandwidth. Got it. Yes. There are some things we're doing. We're working on our next version of Teams, which we'll be able to share more about early next year. And that is something we are looking at for low bandwidth situations. You also can set up meetings to say, look, there is no cameras allowed in a meeting, which can help to increase bandwidth. But one of the best things that you can do, and we have already reduced the memory usage and the chip usage by about 48% since we've come out with Teams, and this next version will take it even further. But we recommend in situations like that you turn off video for the participants coming in and use PowerPoint Live. Don't share full screen slides and things like that. The big reason is if you're using a feature like PowerPoint Live, where I go to a PowerPoint and I say present in Teams and it comes up like I was just doing a few moments ago, what's great is those videos I was showing you are using up 10% of the bandwidth that it would take if I did that as a full screen share, because I'm only redrawing the pixels that are being changed out. So the first thing is to use PowerPoint Live or Excel Live when presenting. That will dramatically reduce bandwidth. When you're creating the meeting, set it for that the people who are coming in, that their cameras are off, and that will help. But there are things in the core of the product that we are looking to do that will also help to work in low bandwidth situations. We are very aware of areas in the world like the ones that you live in and others where bandwidth is difficult, and that is an area that we are working on very, very hard. And hopefully you've seen some of the things that have made it better, and there's a lot of things that we're doing that will continue to make it better. But I will bring that comment back to Jeff Tieper, who's our head of engineering, our CVP, and let him know that you called out for that. And if that's something he can blog about or talk about a bit more deeply in his blog, I'll ask him to do that. So I think that would be great. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to take questions, is I understand that there are issues that are specific to your part of the world that are very different than ours. And that's why I love doing these live and did not pre-record it, but wanted to be live. And also, like I said, so I could eat my chin as I was chatting with all of you. So.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Like you said, thank you for taking those questions. All right, thank you for taking those questions, and trust me, those features you shared, yes, we look forward to seeing them coming up in Teams and changes in them, which everyone is excited about that. So thank you. I think we are done with the session. We're out of time for the session. Okay,
awesome. I want to, have a great conference. Kazim, thanks for inviting me. If you ever have any questions, just reach out to me through Twitter. I'm happy to answer them at Stephen L. Rose, and I'm hoping to be there in person when you do this next year. Have a great conference. Thank you so much. It's about coming up on 2 a.m., so I'm going to head to bed soon, but have a great day. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. We'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.